Live from the virtual Eldora Speedway here in Rossburg, United States. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the SNS Winter Challenge for Charity, the Cincinnati Chili Bowl, live here on Apex Racing TV. Joshua Lee alongside Sean Wehan for the call of all of tonight's action. We're heading right in to heat number one. Top six are going to advance out of this 10-lap race. Chris Smerall sits on the top of the pole with Mike Boris to his outside, then Scott Dawkins, Carter Stickney in row two, Jason Beast with Nicolaj Wood in sixth, Jack Moffitt in seventh, Carrington Wilmer in eighth, Andrew Cole ninth, Jake Achi rounds out your top 10 with Connor Tolman rounding out your entire field. 11 cars are going to take to the track here in heat number one. The top six will make their way into the feature race, with the remaining heading into our B main, the Consolation race, where they'll try and race for the top four to be one of the final four in the main event. But Sean, welcome to the broadcast booth. This is going to be an exciting one. 360 sprint cars at Eldora, all racing for charity.
Oh yeah, sure it is. So, yeah, I think it is quite an interesting choice of car. 360 is where you get the best balance of performance and drivability, and also it's going to be on this Eldora Speedway, which is one of the more popular ones with the iRacers here on the service who do dirt racing. So they're now on their pace lap, and yeah, good race ahead.
And all these drivers getting ready to go. They've had multiple practice sessions since the last one of these. Of course, we broadcasted the previous two here on Apex Racing TV, the latest one being in December with the McLaren MP430s at Suzuka for the Grand Prix. But now they take to the dirt track in these dirt sprint cars, and there have been so many practice sessions over the past couple of weeks to make sure that these drivers are ready to go. And a lot of drivers think that they might have the best setup under him. They might have the best line here at Eldora, but at the end of the day, they're all racing for charity. Numerous different charities represented across the field. Chris Smerall on the pole. He is representing the V Foundation. You can see it on the side of his sprint car as the pace truck pulls down into pit road. 10 laps. We are underway. Smerall with a good start already. Scott Dawkins going to go to the inside, looking for second in the 99. He was not able to hold it down the inside. The 21 to Jason Beast in the back gets a little loose. He keeps it under him as the 99 trying to go around the outside of the 76 of Mike Boris, just not close enough to make the pass as Chris Smerall in the 14 pulls ahead.
So this is Scott Dawkins, and we're back with Jack Moffitt as we have a look at some of the cars going side by side. And this is him going a little bit contact between the 7 and the 6. And this tangles a couple of other drivers, and this leaves both Nikolai and Jack back to the end of the field.
And there's no cautions in the heat races or the Consolation. There will only be cautions in the feature race, and the Consolation. My apologies there. But there will be cautions there, and the caution laps will not count towards the lap count. So that means that we'll basically freeze the field, freeze the lap counter under caution, but no cautions here in the heats as Smerall continues to pull away. You're looking at Carter Stickney, who is racing for Community Partnerships Incorporated. Up to Chris Smerall, your current leader. The track had a bit of a reset going into qualifying, and you can see the groove starting to work back in as everybody runs the middle to lower line, and cars starting to work their way up towards the top. But right now, that bottom middle line seems to be the most dominant one, and that's the one that's going to rubber in first.
Yeah, quite an interesting choice of line to take, because what I do understand about Eldora is that you can take a couple of various different lines in order to get the best outcome from your car. And also just look at those fat tires. They're making their way around the track. And this is now Mike Boris. He sits behind Chris Smerall. The gap is about 0.4 of a second, and you can just see him kind of inching closer to Smerall with every lap.
Smerall got a little loose coming off of turn number 4 there across the start-finish line as they go back into turn number 3. Boris just trying to gain any positions he can on Chris Smerall. Right now, the battle for the transfer spot sits with Carter Stickney and Jake Achi as they sit in 6th and 7th. But the battle for the lead is going to end here. Turns 3 and 4 on the white flag lap. Who's going to get it? It looks like Chris Smerall going to walk away with the Heat 1 victory. Mike Boris in 2nd. Dawkins, Beast, Wilmer, and Stickney is going to grab the 6th and final transfer spot. And the other remaining 5 drivers will be heading in to the Consolation race, the B main, But what a good heat number one. Only one incident on the track. A fairly clean race and some good racing out there for the first heat of the night.
As we progress on towards the second heat of the night, the drivers are beginning to form up on the grid. But we do have the results of the first heat. So Chris Morrow wins heat 1, representing the V Foundation BRCA Research, and Mike Boris comes home in second, representing Pop in the Shop. Scott Dawkins in third, representing Staffy Rescue, as we've also got the rest of drivers. Jason Bice in fourth, Carrington Wilmer in fifth, Carter Stickney in sixth, Jake Achi in seventh, Andrew Cole in eighth, Nikolai Wood in ninth, Connor Tolman in 10th, and rounding up your finishers, Jack Moffitt in 11th.
So those bottom 5 cars will make their way into the Consolation. And here we go for heat number 2, the final heat of the night. Antonio Bianchi starts on the pole. Adam Wright in second. Dan Pogowski in third. Jeffrey Decker fourth. Rich Butler in fifth. Walter Kalita in sixth. Chris Stewart seventh. Joe Zubovich in 8th, Steve Dewar in 9th, with Zach Ripka in 10th. And rounding out your 11-car grid is Phil Arakilian. And they get ready to go racing here at Eldora for heat number 2. Starting on the pole, Antonio Bianchi in the 51, representing BC Children's Hospital. To his outside, the 87 of Adam Wright is representing Chicago Independent Vet Venue League. Charity close to my heart, sitting there in 4th, Dan Pogowski, or will be starting third on the second on the inside line in third, representing Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, trying to make type 1, type none. As here we go, pace truck is in, and we are underway. Antonio Bianchi stomps on the loud pedal, gets a good start as they dive into turn number 1. Pogowski made a move for third. He's going to try and cover off that spot, but around the outside, here comes Jeffrey Decker. He's got Walter Colada behind him, but the inside line going to prevail. The 27 goes into third. Rich Butler now on the transfer spot. He's got it outside of Chris Stewart. Joe Zubovich on the inside. Riding the cushion up there is Jeffrey Decker in the 13. He's now going to have Walter Colada on the inside in the 2. Oh, contact there to go around.
There's some huge jostling around the middle of the field, and this pushes some of the other cars ahead of the grid as the number 13 goes all the way down. And we're now with Rich Butler, who sits in 7th, as he's just been passed by the number 2 car of Kalata around the outside. So of course, with these sprint cars, you can see that it's very much possible to overtake both along the inside and along the outside. It's all about how you take your car across. And we've also got some jostling all around the field. We're back with Bianchi, the Canadian, on the race lead, as we've also got Adam Wright trying to take the fast outside line and trying to find a way around. So he takes the inside, takes a race lead, he takes the tighter inside line at this time. But we've also got a bit of switchback by Bianchi once again. So you can see that they are kind of trading lines, trading position, and in doing so, they're trading positions.
He went for the slide job going through turns 3 and 4. He had it for a moment, but the crossover from Bianchi put him back into second, but he's still rivaling as they go side by side once again. Adam Wright choosing to run that outside line on the cushion here at Eldora, and he's going to take the spot. And he's now going to hop back to the inside here in 3 and 4 just to make sure he covers off the spot. Bianchi looks a little slower on that outside than maybe what he wants to run, but he runs up there this time by that groove, starting to work in. You can see him getting a little bit loose as they almost hit the wall there. That seems to be the dominant line around Eldora in the 410s, but in these 360s, pretty much anywhere you can run seems to be fast tonight.
Oh yeah, very much so indeed. So right now holds the race lead, and you can also see very visibly on the track that the group has begun to settle in along the entry of the corner. So Bianchi is trying just very nicely to hold on. And we're now with Zubovich, who sits in 6th. He's about to be approached by a couple of other cars around behind, but he himself is trying to also approach and move for the finish.
Well, there they go across the start-finish line. Adam Wright takes the win in heat number 2, with Antonio Bianchi coming home 2nd, Dan Pogowski 3rd, Chris Stewart 4th, Walter Colada in 5th, and Joe Zubovich looking to take the final spot into the main event. And the bottom 5 once again will make their way into the Consolation. We'll have a 10-car B main coming up, but we got results here first, John.
We sure do. So for heat 2, your race winner representing CIVL Chicago Independent Venue League is Adam Wright. And on second, we do have Antonio Bianchi. Third, representing Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, is Dan Pagowski. And coming home fourth is Chris Stewart. Coming home fifth and sixth, Walter Kalata, Zoe Jubovic. We've also got Rich Butler, Steve Dewar, Phil Alkalian, Jeffrey Decker, and Zach Ripka finishing the heat 2.
There we go. As we move on to the B main, the Consolation, only the top 4 will make it out of this 15-lap race to race again in the main event. Jake Achie will start on pole. Rich Butler to his outside and in the second and down the second row, Andrew Cole and Steve Dewar. In row 3, Nikolaj Wood and Phil Arakalian. In row 4, Connor Tallman, Jeffrey Decker, and rounding out your 5 rows, Jack Moffitt and Zach Ripka. So 10 cars ready to go racing here at Eldora. This is the final chance for these drivers to make it out of the Consolation and into the main event. The bottom 6 after this race will be eliminated, and they will not be competing in our 16-car final. John, what are you expecting from this? We saw a little bit of carnage in the heats, but albeit just a lot of great racing. You're expecting the same here in the Consolation?
Yeah, we do have the faster half of the drivers from both heats facing off here in the or rather the slope. I guess some of the drivers from different parts of the grid of both heats. So I think we should have still some fair racing, and we'll have probably a good show for us tonight. So this is a grid of 10 drivers, so I think it is going to be quite easy going for these drivers, but still fast-paced nonetheless.
Well, the pace truck is going to pull into the safety of pit road. Jake Achie getting on the lap pedal. He takes the green flag. 15 laps here in the Consolation. Already 2 wide for second as Andrew Cole looks to take over that spot from Rich Butler. Butler taps the wall on the outside, so that means he's going to be stuck up there now. The 222 of Connor Tolman gets a little bit loose. The 13 and the 7 make contact. They're tangled up coming off of turn 4 in the front straightaway.
Some drama there as we're back with the front half of the field, as it does shape up to be quite exciting here as well. So this is number 6 Wood going to try to make a move around there. That's a Taco Bell sprint car that's kind of tangled up 4 sprint cars, and this has kind of ruined the race chances for some of the other cars on the grid as well. So we're now back with the race leader, Jake Achie. He's in the race lead, and he's coming under a lot of pressure from Andrew Cole. He's keen to try a couple of different racing lines. So Cole is now along the inside line. We've also got a couple of other drivers behind.
Rich Butler getting caught up. He is now towed to the pits. He is 1 lap down. Ripka, Moffitt, Decker, Dewar, Arakelian, and Arakelian is the final driver competing for a transfer spot. Right now you're looking at the 222 of Connor Tolman, who has the final transfer spot, but he's lost that front wing, and that is definitely affecting the downforce of that sprint car, and I don't think he's gonna keep it for long as Arakelian's around on his side, back on the wheels, but what a wild crash going into turn number 1.
Sure was wicked, alright. And yeah, I think losing a front end does kind of ruin the car in so many aspects, and drivers will have to try to overcome that challenge if they do face that. So this is Steve Dewar, and we're back with Jake Achie as he's still coming under quite a lot of pressure from Andrew Cole. He's just trying to find a way, pocket of space across to make that overtaking move. Tolman is in 4th. He's in the final transfer spot position. And we've also got some trading of positions between Achie and Cole, so this is very much intense fighting. I think Cole has kind of lost his grip a little bit, and he's now setting himself a little further back, and this does kind of offer some bit of respite for Achie.
They continue to race on the track. The 6 car hits the wall. A hard hit for Nikolaj Wood. He's going to keep 3rd place. Now going to lose that 3rd spot to Connor Tolman. He's still in the transfer spot. Jack Moffitt in the 7 is the next car that needs to pass him for him to lose that spot. But we need to know if there's any damage to that 6 car, because here comes the 7. You can see him at the top of your screen in that camera shot, trying to now catch Wood for that transfer spot, but Jake Achie has checked down. He is running away from the field as there's Jack Moffitt just looking at Nikolaj Wood ahead of him. He has an opportunity to make his way into the main event with 1 pass. Here he goes, looking on the outside. The 6 gonna cover off the spot. To the inside goes the 7. He's gonna take the spot. Can he complete the slide job? Not close enough.
there was very close indeed, as the drivers have only 2 laps to go to make whatever moves that they have to do, especially more so for Moffitt, who has to probably try to attempt this move once again. We've also got some lap traffic tangling around, and this does kind of throw a spanner in the works of overtaking moves.
Oh, the 6 car gets a little bit loose back there. So does the 222. He slams the wall of the 903 of Andrew Cole. The 6 was able to keep it. He's still battling with Jack Moffitt. Moffitt on the outside. The 6 get loose once again. White flag is out. On the outside, this is the battle for the final transfer spot. Moffitt able to get the power down on the outside. Coming across the line, Jacob Chi is going to take the win in the Consolation. Andrew Cole takes second. Connor Tolman third, and Jack Moffitt with a pass on the final lap takes the 4th spot. He moves on to the main event.
What a crazy finish to this race though. We've just seen a very intense last-minute overtake for the transfer spot. So now we move to the feature race, and it features 16 of the fastest drivers here tonight.
Well, here's the Consolation race results. Jacob Chi takes the win. Andrew Cole, Connor Tolman, and Jack Moffitt will make their way into the feature race with Nicolas Wood, Steve Dewar, Jeffrey Decker, Zach Ripka, Phil Arakelian, and Rich Butler heading on home. Now we have the starting grid for the feature race tonight. Chris Morrall starts on the pole. He was your Heat 1 winner. Heat 2 winner Adam Wright 2 is outside. Then Mike Boris, Antonio Bianchi, row 2. Row 3, Scott Dawkins and Dan Pagowski. Row 4, Jason Beast with Chris Stewart. Row 5, Carrington Wilmer and Walter Collada. Row 6, Carter Stickney, Joe Zubovich. Moving down the order to row 7, Jacob Chi and Andrew Cole. Row 8, Connor Tolman, Jack Moffitt. And that rounds out your 16-car grid for the main event. John, it all comes down to this. This is the final race of the night. Cautions are on. The caution laps won't count. 30 green flag laps ahead of us. What do you expect from these 16 drivers who have raced their way in?
Yeah, this is going to be very, very much intense. Of course, for the first couple of rounds, it was, those were races of 10 to 15 laps each, but this is 30 laps, so it is going to stretch out for quite a fair bit, and drivers will kind of have to be on their toes for much longer than they were used to earlier on in the race.
3 times the distance of the heats. It is twice the distance of the Consolation. The top 12 is all occupied by drivers who have raced their way in through the heats. The bottom 4 all raced their way in. They just did through the Consolation. And that makes up 16 360 sprint cars ready to go racing. They're all racing for charity here in the Sunday Night Skippy's Winter Challenge, the Cincinnati Chili Bowl. 30 laps at Eldora. Let's go racing. We're underway. And a good start for some Morrall. Wright not going to get a good start on the outside. They're already going to go 3 wide in the back. Some contact, but a huge run on the outside for the 87. Wright takes an early lead. Antonio Bianchi going to take over second place. The 14 getting loose on the inside. Morrall is struggling in third.
So there's a great start by the 87 and the 51, but a big battle for third position. This is between Mike Boris and Chris Morrall over here. So Boris makes a move up to third position. We're now down with Jason Bice, as we do have some contact and overtaking moves here along the midfield. This is a tangle between these 2 sprint cars. Can't exactly spot the numbers. This is the 11 of Joe Zubovich, and he does get relegated down towards the tail end of the race. We're back with the race leader. This is Adam Wright, as he still sits ahead of Antonio Bianchi, as he's found himself quite a comfortable position at this point. So pressure is on Bianchi to try to find the most optimal line through the next couple of laps.
0.7 of a second, the gap between first and second right now as Adam Wright continues to pull away. Bianchi in second. Collada sets the fastest lap of 14.717. You see these lap times continue. They're just so quick around Eldora. Marco put it best in our Discord chat. It's like trying to commentate a washing machine, and it's just constantly action happening as Collada going to get up on the back bumper of the 15er Chris Stewart. They're going to go tangling into turn 3. They're both running the cushion, the outside line. Now that the inside line is all rubbered in, that outside line is so dominant, and he tried to peek the wing in there. They made a little bit of contact. The 2 of Walter Collada keeps it off of the wall, but not for long. They're going to keep 2 by 2 and battling as they go back into 3.
That was Cartel's made the overtaking move along the outside, and we're now back with Bianchi. Oh, someone's gone off and he's spinning around, and we have the caution flag out. This is unfortunately Mike Boris, who's found himself on the wrong side of the track, and he's just tipped himself upside down.
Here's the replay that brings out the first caution of the night. You can see Mike Boris in the 76. You can see the 99 just went up the racetrack. He was in that blue groove down there on the bottom, that area of the track that is super rubbered in, and these sprint cars do not like that rubbered in dirt. It's almost like asphalt down there. These things want to slide on moist, slick dirt, and they're not able to do that down there. It looks like a little bit of a netcode help as well. Scott Dawkins being from Australia, Mike Boris based in the United States. Two different servers, two different very far away servers that could have affected the incident there, because we saw the 99 had a couple of feet at least clear of Mike Boris on the outside, but that's the thing he has to deal with in sim racing. As we are on lap number 9, the lap counter is frozen. Caution laps will not count here in the feature race as we wait for the green flag to come back out. But John, I mean, we're seeing now that the line is starting to move up as the inside line gets rubbered in, and very soon that outside line is going to start to get rubbered in. What are they going to do at that stage?
So I think as drivers approach that phase, I think the drivers are even more careful with their throttle application, as there's going to be, just kind of more grip with the cars and less of slinging the weight of the car around the track. But of course, it's 30 laps, so I would imagine that the effects won't exactly be way too pronounced, and there's still ample time for them to be able to adjust their lines ever so slightly.
Well, they're back 2 by 2. The pace truck back into pit lane, and Adam Wright is on the gas very quickly. We're back underway on the lap number 9 of good green flag racing here at Eldora. Antonio Bianchi still running that outside line, running so far up on the cushion to try and get as much speed out of it. I think he just tapped the wall back there, and he's going to lose at one position to Walter Collada. And now Chris Morrell looking to battle on, as here comes the 24 of Carrington Wilmer also trying to get there. One car all the way down the inside. That's Dan Pogowski, 1 lap down. He's running all the way down the bottom to stay out of the way of these leaders as they run up by the wall. But the 51 of Bianchi falls into 3rd. Now here comes Morrell. He has nowhere to go, as this is the only group that can really race on the racetrack right now.
You can very much see that the groove has been settled in very, very obviously, almost black, in fact, the inside line. So this is Bianchi. He's coming under a lot of pressure from Morrell, who is in 4th, and that is Morrell trying to find a way through. That is Bianchi trying to find the best means to defend his position, to try to deny a window of opportunity pass. So we do have quite a good perspective from Wilmer's car here. Wilmer's is in 5th, and we do have quite a good view of how Morrell might just think of a move across Bianchi.
Right now, really the only tool they have to their disposal to try and run in that rubbered-in groove is that they can move that top wing up and down. And that affects sort of the downforce and just how loose or tight that car is. And moving it further upwards could help you through that rubbered-in section to try and make a pass down there. But right now, it's just so difficult to get around anybody. You can see Morrell, he's all over the back wing. Arguably, he is faster than the 51. He just can't find a way to get by him.
Yeah, I think you could see that he was trying to switch between a couple of the racing lines to just try to make the overtaking move work. And I think we're now having a look at Jack Murphy, who's probably made a little bit of a mistake as he made his way around, and he's finding himself under a lot of pressure from Coleman, but Coleman does help go all the way up to the wall. And this is Murphy making the overtaking move ahead of Chris Stewart, and that was a good line around the middle. You can just see that he does kind of go even more sideways, and we do have the caution flag out. Let's have a look at possibly what exactly happened.
We'll see here as we are further into the race, about halfway done. Scott Dawkins, once again, he was up on the outside, gets loose, and he is running right in that rubbered-in section, and around he goes and into the wall. Some cars barely getting by him, but Dawkins able to keep on rolling, albeit some damage. They do have 2 fast repairs that they can use, so they'll be able to use that fast repair and get back on the racetrack. And you can see just how difficult it is to run in that rubbered-in section. It just causes them to just get so loose, and around he went, almost nothing he could do.
Yeah, you can, even almost see the vast difference in grip across the both of the grooves. Of course, some opportunity for the drivers to regroup at this point. Sprint races are very intense, are very fast, and sometimes caution laps in between does help you to kind of close up and try to focus again.
So back under cautions, second caution of the night, 13 laps to go as we ride on lap number 18. Field back double file. And caution laps are not counting here in the feature race once again, so they will begin to count once again once we go back under the green flag with 14 laps to go. Sorry, it will be 13 laps to go. We currently have 14 to go as we are on lap number 17 under caution. Once they cross the start-finish line, take the green flag, we'll be on lap number 18. Time quickly winding down. Adam Wright all the way on the inside, trying to get as much moisture on those tires as he can to get as much grip as he can for the start. He's going to try running that inside line, but he gets in the rubbered-in groove. He has to catch it up the racetrack. Contact as Bianchi does the same thing. The 2 of Walter Collada now goes into second. The 7 of Jack Moffitt still trying to run down to the inside. That inside line is just not there, but now that outside line starts to get rubbered in. They got to go further up the racetrack.
You can just see the rubber-in groove kind of messing the rhythm of these drivers up so much. Of course, they're now trying their best to kind of get the best out of their car as they can, because we are kind of going beyond the halfway mark, and we do have another caution, and this does involve the number 11 car.
Joe Zubovic around in turn number 4. That puts us back under the caution flag and on lap number 20. So 11 to go. 10 to go when they go back to racing. Here's the replay. Joe Zubovic racing for Black Swan Research Initiative, and they had contact ahead of him actually between the 15 and the 11. That was Chris Stewart making contact ahead of him. I also believe that was the 21 of Jason Beach. The 11 of Joe Zubovic was the one that went spinning. Let's see exactly what happened. Here's Chris Stewart in the 15. Actually, it wasn't the 21. Who was that up ahead of him? That was the 77. That was a 77 car. So around they went in turn number 4. That leads us back under caution once again. The 87 of Adam Wright continues to lead the way. And Johnny's been getting really good starts so far in this race. And now the restarts will go single file because we are inside that 10 lap to go window. Are you expecting Adam Wright to get another dynamite start here and keep running away? Or are you expecting maybe Collada or Bianchi to really come from behind?
Well, and the rubber-in groove, I think that's going to be, it's going to be quite unknown at this point. So we'll have to see for ourselves how well Wright does get a start.
Well, the lights are out on the pace truck. We're going back racing this time by. We'll have 10 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line here at Eldora. We'll see if this will be the final restart or if we'll have to rack them up again and try once more. But here we go as the field on the outside. All the cars on the racetrack right now, I believe 14 cars lined up on the outside. The 2 car of Walter Collada looked to the inside, but Wright didn't go. Wright goes a little bit later than he did on all the other restarts, but he gets another good start, up 0.3 of a second right now. Multiple cars getting loose on the outside line, but they go right back to running the cushion. Collada now in second. The 51 of Bianchi's in the wall. Jack Moffitt ran the inside. He's losing even more time. Chris Moreau gets loose running the cushion. Everybody just looking for any positions they can with 9 to go.
It would appear that some drivers want to try the wall riding around this track. But of course, yeah, the window of good dirt around this track is really all the way up towards the wall. So it does get very, very tricky for them to just find the optimal line. Because you can just see a lot of these cars doing the tank slap as they rejoin the groove as they go on the straight line. And we do have caution out once again, and this time it involves the 27 car. And unfortunately, we do see the fact that there have been more incidents with the later stages of this race.
It looks like all these incidents, for the most part, are just being caused by running that inside groove. And you can see the 27 just trying to go to the inside, got a little loose on that groove, and up into another car they went. It's unfortunate as it gets harder and harder to race these cars around this track as it gets rubbered in and almost that black tarmac looking stuff sort of starts to act like asphalt, and these sprint cars want to cleanly drift around some slick dirt, but once it gets grouped in like that and rubber laid down, it's so difficult to get it to rotate that it almost just spins itself out.
Oh, very much so indeed. So, I think we've got a final 6 laps to go, and this is going to be very much crunch time for these drivers, as we'll see how they cope with the ever-changing track conditions. So we've got a good view of the drivers lining up, single file as usual, due to the fact that we are at the final parts of the race.
They continue to pace on the outside line as the pace truck gets ready to pull back into pit lane. I believe those lights are out. We're going to go back to racing this time by. Yes, we are. The pace truck back into pit lane, and Adam Wright, another good start, and another early start from him as well. One car loose back there. That's the 24 of Carrington Wilmer. He's going to keep it under himself. The 2 car running all the way down the inside, trying to find any sort of moisture he can down there to get that sprint car rotated the way he wants. But he has to move up the racetrack through the rubbered-in portion, and he loses a lot of time. More cars starting to try and run that inside line, but it's no use as Wright pulls away on the outside.
So we have yet another caution, as we did see one overtaking move, an additional overtaking move by Jack Moffitt, and this time it involves Mike Bowers, unfortunately. So having a look at the replay, this is Bowers who's in the middle of the field at this point. He goes along the inside, and unfortunately he might just seem that he had tangled with the 36, and he found himself facing the wrong direction at this point, and that was enough to warrant a caution.
So they will be going back to racing. 5 laps to go. It will be 4 to go when they take the green flag. And right now, this is, albeit just stalling Adam Wright's win. I mean, he has been the most dominant car all night, and he is looking to take the win here in the feature race. John, do you think he can hold on, or do you think one of those cars behind him is going to try and catch up and make a pass throughout the rubbered section? Because if you can make a pass down there, you might be almost unbeatable.
Well, I'm just confident in Wright's ability to hold his ground, and I think he's just going to be able to defend his position ever so slightly. It's going to be quite close, but I think he's still going to hold the advantage if he's able to kind of pull ahead at the start.
Well, the lights are back out on the pace truck. We'll be heading back to racing this time by. We'll see if it's the final restart or if we're going to have another one before the checkered flag falls. The 87 of Adam Wright leads with Walter Collada in second, Carrington Wilmer third, Chris Morrall fourth, and Jack Moffitt rounds out your top 5. Antonio Bianchi, Connor Tolman, Carter Stickney, Andrew Cole, and Chris Stewart rounds out your top 10. As the pace truck back into pit road, Adam Wright on the outside. He gets on the loud pedal. We're back racing. Walter Collada sits in second. Carrington Wilmer in third. They're going to go battling for the second position down to turn number 1. The 222 of Coleman making a great move on the inside on Jack Moffitt. They almost made contact. They are not going to as we go on to 4 laps to go.
And there was a great overtaking move by Tolbert, as we're now back with Wilmer once again. He is under quite a lot of pressure from Smurl and Moffitt. So some overtaking moves happening in the middle of the field. And we do hear some contact. And this is both drivers coming clanging with each other. Unfortunately, we have yet another instance of the caution. And let's have a look at what exactly happened to initiate this one. So we do have car 21 who's made its way around the corner. It's gone along the inside line, and unfortunately he does tangle with the 11 car. And sometimes the visibility with these cars is not always the best. You have racing in close quarters, and sometimes it's very easy to just find yourself tangling with the other cars around you.
So we'll be going green with 2 laps to go. The absolute final opportunity for these drivers to try and gain as many positions as they can. Adam Wright has been in command of this race the entire night. Walter Collada now finds himself in second. Your biggest mover of the race right now is a tie between Connor Tolman and Jack Moffitt. They started 15th and 16th, the bottom 2 positions. And they are looking to continue gaining positions tonight, as they have both gained 10 positions so far in the feature race. We'll see if they can gain any more, as they'll be going green here next time by with 2 laps to go. Taking a look at that weather, a fairly hot night here in Ohio. It's 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp 75 degrees, but that doesn't really matter too much on the dirt as temperature doesn't really affect the grip levels. That humidity, though, is something important to watch for. 74%. A humid night could mean more moisture in that racetrack, more grip for these cars, but right now it looks like all that moisture on the inside line especially is all soaked up.
And I can only hope for 74% humidity here in Singapore. So the drivers are, are still in single file. They're still big under the pace car or pace truck in this instance, and you can just see they're always hanging along the outside, close to the cushion, and very so close to the wall, in fact. And the pace car should go in.
Well, there we go. Adam Wright back on the throttle. He gets another good start. Kalata gonna battle for second. Wilmer and Smoral behind him. Connor Tolman trying to hold on to a top 5 as they come through the back straightaway into turn number 3. Looking to take the white flag this time by Adam Wright in the 87. Takes the white flag one more time around Eldora. Everybody running the cushion, 1 car on the wall. That was the 14er, Chris Smoral, as they come back onto the back straightaway. A final push effort from Walter Kalata, but it's not going to be close enough. Across the line, Adam Wright in the 87 takes the win in the feature race.
I've got stuck tangling around in the middle of the field, and so the drivers have, of course, finished the race at this point. So Kalata comes home second, Carrington Wilmer in third, and we've also got a couple of other drivers who are making their way around the start-finish line. So of course, drivers now going into the pits, and we should have the results emerging in a couple of moments' time.
What a feature race. A lot of cautions towards the end, but we finished with an amazing race to the end. And what a night for Adam Wright. He started on the outside of the front row. He won heat number 2, and he took the lead early and led pretty much every single lap of the evening. And he takes the win with Walter Kalata in second, Carrington Wilmer third, Chris Smoral fourth. Connor Tolman rounds out your top 5 with Jack Moffitt, Antonio Bianchi, Chris Stewart, Carter Stickney, and Andrew Cole rounding out your top 10 with Joe Zubovich, Jason Beese, Dan Pagowski, Jake Achie, Mike Boris, and Scott Dawkins rounding out your top 16. And it looks like we have Adam Wright in the interview waiting area. We'll see if we can grab Adam Wright for an interview. Welcome into the commentary box. Your winner of the feature race, Adam Wright in the 87. Adam, welcome. What a race tonight here at Eldora.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. A little slick at the end, but overall a real good night of racing for a good cause.
Now, you won your heat earlier tonight in heat number 2, and you started on the outside. Were you a little nervous about starting on the outside, or is that where you wanted to start?
I definitely would have preferred to be on the inside, but I made the outside work, and I think Bianchi got a little loose on one of the turns, and then I got in front, and then just didn't let him pass me, and took the heat win, so that was good.
And moving on to the feature, you got an early pass on the 14 of Chris Smoral, and you just took that lead and didn't let it go the entire night. Were you a little nervous with the cars running behind you, or with that sort of blue groove starting to work in towards the middle line? Did you think you were pretty much unstoppable on the outside?
Definitely was a little bit nervous, especially with all those cautions, getting a good runaway when we went green, and I think I kept switching up what I was doing to keep Walter and Carrington behind me guessing, but definitely knew they had the pace to keep up with me, so definitely was not sure until I saw the checker.
And tonight you were representing Chicago Independent Venue League. What does it mean to represent a charity that's meaningful to you in a charity race here on iRacing?
Yeah, it's really proud. I think they could use this money well to make sure all these independently owned music venues in Chicago can stay open and are ready to rock once we can all go to concerts and stuff like that once we're back to normal times.
Anyone else you would like to thank here on Apex Racing TV?
Mostly I would like to thank Chris Smoral for putting this all together. He's done a lot of work to make this run as smooth as it has. So thanks to him, and thanks to my family who's watching. So thanks.
Great night for Adam Wright. He takes the win here at I accidentally moved myself out of the comms channel. That is not what I wanted to do, but my colleague Sean Rihan is going to be standing by with Walter Kalata, P2 finisher.
Hey, Walter, welcome to the Apex Racing commentary booth. So congratulations on coming home second here in the feature race, in fact. And I think we've all had a great show for all of us tonight. 30 laps here at Eldora. How was your race from your perspective? I think it got challenging towards the tail end of the race. I could see that you were battling very hard with character Wilmer and also trying to find a way past Adam, right? So please share with us more about your race. Here that we might not have Walter Collector on the line, so let's try again. Well, regardless, Walter Collector comes home second. He represents Bike Saviors, and I think we're all very glad to kind of see Walter racing here on air tonight. I think we might just try with Carrington for the next moment. Oh yes, Walter, just managed to be able to hear you. So yeah, just want to say congratulations for winning the Cincinnati Chili Bowl here, the feature race. In fact, you came home second. Was just mentioning that you had a great battle with Carrington Wilmer throughout the race, and was also trying to find a way around Adam Wright. In fact, so could you please share with us the race from your perspective?
Yeah, thank you for having me. From my perspective, the race really came down to how we reacted to a series of restarts. It really just came to the start we got, building an initial gap, and trying to maintain it until the next yellow flag. And with Carrington behind me, I knew that there was some tough competition, so I just tried to stay in front of him and tried to balance that with attempting to get across of Adam.
So we couldn't help but notice that as the grooves were becoming filled with rubber, I think we did see that everyone was just trying to go towards the cushion, almost wall riding the track. In fact, so how is it that part of the challenge, given that this is a 30-minute long race, which is very much longer than the first couple of races?
I found it very difficult. Essentially, the only viable path I could find was single file. There were a few times where I tried the inside line or tried to take it mid-track, and it seemed to me that most of those attempts lost me a few tenths. So I just tried to stay high and make do with what was available.
Fully understand. So we do understand that you also represent Bike Saviors, your charity of choice. So what does it mean to you that you are supporting them, and in fact you've come home second, for your charity?
I think it's wonderful. Bike Saviors is a local bicycle co-op organization, and they exist as part of the community. People come to them to assemble bicycles from parts that have been donated, or maybe a bike that they found in their garage from parents or grandparents from years past that needs rehabilitation. And I know that all the money that they receive is going to be carefully spent, and then it's going to go right back into the community.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you so much for being here on the commentary booth. So anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to give a shout out to Jeffrey Decker. I ruined his chances in an earlier heat, and I wish him the best in the next race.
Very nice. So that was Walter Kalata, and my friend Joshua Lee, he will be with Carrington Wilmer, who came home third.
Now here with Carrington Wilmer, third place finish in the main event. How was that race for you? All 30 laps of it here at Eldora.
Hey, that was a tough race. Starting, I think, 9th or 10th, and had to push my way through the field, which made it a lot tougher.
You started in 9th. You had a good enough finish in the heat to make your way into the main event, but definitely not that far up the order. How did the heat go for you earlier on? Because that track was a lot fresher. It was almost a lot easier to race versus the main event, where it was almost a one-groove track for the entire 30 laps.
Yeah, so I actually preferred the slick track versus the grippy track, and so the heat was really tough for me because I had a really poor qualifying.
Now you represented tonight, just looking on the spreadsheet, you represented Best Buddies, which I know really well. I have a really good friend who is the Best Buddies ambassador for the greater Chicago area. So how does it feel to be representing Best Buddies here on the stream in a charity race on iRacing?
Oh, it's great. I'm just hoping to bring awareness and maybe get them some donations to help them put on local events.
Anyone else you would like to thank here on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, I just want to thank Chris for putting this on. It was a great event.
Well, thank you very much. Carrington Wilmer coming home in third. And we also have fourth place finisher and race organizer Chris Morral, who's going to be standing by with my Chanwi Han.
Hi Chris, welcome to Apex Racing TV commentary booth. So, massive congratulations for coming home fourth in the Cincinnati Chili Bowl. And I think the drivers are also very thankful for the fact that you've been carrying out these events. And I think tonight's event was very much a success from our perspective. Could you please share with us more about what goes on behind these races and the whole motivation behind doing this charity race, and also more about how tonight's race came to be.
Yeah, well, first of all, yeah, appreciate it. I know we touched on this for the first race, but we really haven't had a chance to touch back in with you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. But this all really started as just kind of a fun thing that we are in the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League, and we raced every Sunday night, and it's become kind of blowing up to some extent. And we had a bunch of drivers who were just kind of looking for something different to do for fun. And so that's where the idea kind of started. And then it really started with Jack Moffitt, who kind of threw down the gauntlet with, hey, let's make this interesting, but not in a selfish way. Let's put down $100 to the winner of each of these races to the charity of their choice. And that just kind of started this whole snowball effect where people started donating, and we ended up with over a total for all 6 races, $2,500 pledged to charity. So for each race, $250 goes to first place, $95 to second, $70 to third, and then there's a couple other smaller prizes, just to kind of incentivize people to go out there. Like today we had $10 to the charity for the last person who didn't make the feature event, fun stuff like that. And then it just kind of took on a life of its own. And I appreciate everybody talking about how I was setting this up, but it's really nothing without the drivers. And I was not shocked, but it was just really cool to see everybody pick a charity that was really every charity that I've seen, everybody's got a story behind it, which was really cool. And I got to learn a lot about different issues and different charities that I just didn't know about before, personally. So we were kind of hoping to bring that, to the forefront for other folks, and get some charities some money that they need, and bring some attention to them, if nothing else. So that's kind of where we're at.
That's so wonderful. So look, before I let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for making all these possible?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, my family, my wife and kids are very supportive of me doing this, and it seems kind of silly, for iRacing, but they're behind me 100%, and it wouldn't be possible to do any of this, fun stuff without them. And then just the other drivers, really, like I said before, if it was just me racing around by myself, it wouldn't be super interesting. So the fact that they're coming out and participating and really getting into it, and it's a great atmosphere to be a part of. And it's just something that really, really cool that kind of sprang out of something dark with the pandemic. That was kind of where we were all kind of reaching out and trying to find different ways to connect with people, and kind of distract ourselves from the realities of the world, and turned out to be something really fantastic. And that's because of the people around you. And it's been fun getting to know you guys too, and watching the broadcast afterwards. It's definitely one of the highlights of my month, because we race once a month. So thanks to you guys for doing what you do.
Thank you very much, Chris Morral, race organizer and fourth place finisher in the main event. And Sean, what a race. I mean, from the first heat all the way to the end of the main event, we had action everywhere. And Marco's statement definitely still stands. It's like commentating in a washing machine.
It certainly was intense, all right, because I think these drivers just couldn't really catch a break. In fact, every lap just kind of comes in every 10, 15, 20 seconds, and they're just going intense, all night long. So it was really interesting to see how these drivers kind of managed their pace throughout the race, and it was certainly very interesting from my perspective.
Well, that is going to do it for us here on Apex Racing TV. We thank you all for tuning in to the Sunday Night Skippy's Winter Challenge for charity. Another 2 of these are coming up in February and March, so stay tuned here on Apex Racing TV for the remaining 2 Winter Challenge for charities from the Sunday Night Skippies. For Chan Wee-Han, for Marco Barbanero, I am Joshua Lee. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you again. We're saying goodbye from the virtual Eldora.